On to today's new and AI stream. Like always, we have gathered the most interesting releases from the last couple of days. With me is Emmanuel, one of Native's developers.
Hey everyone.
Um, yeah, and I think that's it. So let's jump right into the first topic for today. This is a tweet, and this is something really interesting. So this is a project called DoctorGPT. And basically, what he did is he took the LLaMA 2 model and he applied fine tuning, reinforcement learning, and some other techniques and got some amazing results. So he wanted a fine tuned LLaMA model for the medical field, you could say. And here he lists all the achievements. So it passed the US medical licensing exam. You can run it offline. I think that's a huge thing to think about. It runs on iOS and Android, and it's fully open source, available on GitHub. And with this comes this 40-minute video and also a Jupyter notebook that basically explains how this was achieved. And this notebook goes through the entire training process. So I've opened it right here, and you have this 6-step tutorial, which is really detailed. You had a lot of images, a lot of explanations. And yeah, I think this is a really cool project because when you think about it, if some model that can run offline and passes the medical exam, this can help the world so much. Yeah, because especially in poorer
Yes.
countries, to get access to like these medical large language models could be super helpful and life-saving.
Yeah, that's totally right. I mean, I don't think the offline is the key takeout here because everything that you run on your computer technically it's running offline, right? But that it's running on iOS and Android, which means like somehow like
Yeah,
you can run it on your phone, like you have enough like computational power there,
yeah,
which is yeah, exactly what you said. So yeah, this is really cool to see. This is like an approach that we haven't seen a lot in this type of models for obvious reasons. Like you can't run this type of things usually on your phone, but it's actually like a really good approach for all these people that are developing like some sort of apps that deal with sensitive data that you shouldn't be like throwing around on the internet.
mhm,
So yeah, like running it on your devices, it's a like super good alternative to this. So it's good that people are like starting to do that. Maybe not specifically for the thing that I said, but yeah, it's pretty cool. We also saw something similar for the Google Vertex. I think it was model you told like a couple streams ago. There was a no Palm. It was a Palm model
yeah.
for
For the
medical use, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so super cool to see something like this, and I mean, this is really good for the world, and it's super interesting for AI developers. So yes, if you are curious about this, you can check this out. It's called Dr. GPT. Yeah, it's fully available on GitHub, and like I said, this notebook is just really, really nice. Yeah, it really goes into detail of how this was done. All right, yeah, then let's maybe jump to the next one. So this is Fooocus, and this is an image generating software slash model, and basically focuses rethinking of stable diffusion and mid-journey designs. And for me personally, stable diffusion generations were pretty good, but in my opinion, Midjourney's generations always were just a little bit better in terms of quality.
Hmm.
So this is now basically an open source Midjourney version, and I'm super sad because Midjourney closed their free access tier. So I guess a lot of people just lost access to this. Yeah, and basically now we have this Midjourney quality, yeah, image generation software.
But
And
so it's just software like that runs on Midjourney.
um, no, it's basically, I think it's some fine-tuned stable diffusion model.
I see.
Yeah, but it learned from Midjourney generations.
Yeah.
So that's super cool to see. I also ran this the Gradio, basically this Gradio interface right here. And you have a little bit of customization options, so you can generate really
Oh,
huge
yeah.
images.
Yeah, it's cool to see. That was my next question right there.
Do you have any idea what we could generate? So
I
right here
mean,
I generated cornfield, and I think it looks pretty good.
let's see, let's see. Let's generate like you saw the robot that we saw last time for Dr. GPT just a couple of minutes ago.
Mhm.
Let's let's generate a new one, something like a medical doctor AI, something like that, just to see.
Okay, yeah, let's do this.
robotic AI assistant. Some like let's not be very specific to see like how does it handles like
Yeah,
general
yeah.
statements.
Yeah, and you can also, you have these different tabs right here, so you can set like different art styles. So you have graffiti, a lot of stuff. And you can also choose a model and a refiner right here. But
Yeah,
for
nice.
now, let's just,
Easy to use interface also.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, now you can see the generation has started. I'm running this on a free Colab notebook, so it's not super fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you have a good GPU ready, then this can be even faster. And right here we can
Yeah,
see
but
that this
already
is,
something significant there.
yeah,
Like it
this
was
is
making some sort of
40%, and this is
yeah.
already looking interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty like it looks like a poster of
Yeah,
something. It looks really cool to be
some
honest.
some blueprint type.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
And let's see. Yeah, and I think this
Yeah,
is super impressive for
yeah,
such
it
an
made a
open
full
source.
poster about it, like really cool. Like, yeah, I like this.
I would be curious if this can already design websites, because I have seen some really cool website designs from Midjourney, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Also,
this
it
is a
gets very
website.
creative. Like, look, it would like put like the microscope and
Hmm.
like the robot sort of like anatomy style image,
Yeah,
and who
that's true.
knows what everything else is. But it got really creative.
And you can even set like a different parameter, so maybe we can do one more for quality. Let's see. We can also jump to the next topic if this takes too much time.
I think
Yeah.
you were going to show something on the code a couple minutes ago,
Sorry.
or
What?
just that it was running in a collab.
Yeah, it was running. It's just running in Colab, but yeah, I
Hmm.
think you could speed this up if you are running this on your own system or some pro version of Colab.
Yep, probably. Well, no, not probably for sure.
Yeah, and I mean it's relatively fast. So, for example, not stable diffusion, Midjourney also took like a minute to generate.
Yeah,
So,
also they use this type of like lazy loading, which makes it, I don't know, it feels less waiting that you see like it starts rendering better and better version of the image.
mhm.
So yeah, that's also good to like have a quick like already you're seeing that something's happening. Otherwise, imagine like it's waiting like blank all
Yeah,
like this time.
yeah, and you can see this is also already looking pretty interesting.
It's giving Sophia vibes.
Yeah, I mean super cool,
Yeah,
just very
very nice
detailed.
quality. Yeah.
If you look this, yeah. So for everyone who's interested, yeah, in just having Midjourney quality, but with some open source software, you can use this repo right here. Yeah, generate some really good stuff. All right, then let's jump to the next thing. So we've seen more and more of these kinds of papers and also like GitHub repos. So
Mhm.
this is instruction to remove objects with diffusion models. So I guess this is really just a combination of large language models and then just these image in-painting models.
Mhm.
So right here, this is the pre-made example. So we have these two cups, and then we say remove the cup at the left. Let's submit this. Then on the right, you will have the old image and then the new image. And you can see that this works really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be. Yeah, it looks really well, but also take into account that the background is already blurred. So
Mhm,
who
mhm.
knows on something more defined how far can it go?
Maybe we
Yeah,
can
it's
look at
it's also it's really quick.
different examples right here. So let's take a look at this. Oh, okay.
So let's not take. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, this works. So here it's remove the car, and yeah, you can see that, okay, the background is also a bit blurred, but works fairly
Yeah, no,
well.
but it looks all right. Looks natural to me.
Let's see if we can find something that's maybe not blurred. So yeah, right here we tell it to remove the clock, and this is also looking pretty good. So yes, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
this
was
just makes,
probably very useful for a very specific group of people.
yeah, yeah. For example, I saw some Google Pixel phone ads where they had this feature basically where you just paint a layer and then it removes something from this image. And I think this would
Yes.
be a super cool feature just for smartphones. Just
Goodbye, photobombing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just super cool to see this and that we can actually instruct this with some
Yeah.
text. Yeah, because now you can think this further, and for example, you can have this in some assistant way, like assistant conversational way, where you just tell your
hmm
Google Assistant, okay, take my last image and remove the person in the background, something like this.
Yeah. All these things that we see on these streams, they always have like lots of potential. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Like hopefully we'll see something soon using
Yeah.
these type of things. Like you said, like you just gave a like really good example of a great application of this.
Mhm, mhm. All right. Yeah. So hopefully we will see this implemented in like the most used software. Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next topic. So this is called GPT-llm-trainer. And we know that it's pretty difficult to basically fine-tune your own model because you have to build your own data sets. This takes a lot of time.
hmm
So this is now a project that aims to simplify this entire process. So basically here are the features listed. You have the dataset generation. So you're using
hmm
GPT-4 to generate an entire dataset for your fine-tuning uh, needs. Then you have the system message generation, which is also pretty similar to just dataset generation. And then you have the actual fine-tuning process. So right here is an example. So you can see that your prompt is basically you're not even telling what kind of generation should be generated, but you're just
hmm
telling GPT-4 or this software what kind of fine-tuned model you want. So right here, a model that takes in a puzzle-like reasoning-heavy question in English and responds with a well-reasoned, step-by-step, thought-out response in Spanish. So yeah, this is some niche type
Yeah,
of thing.
this is cool.
So yeah, now the model goes on, generates your training data, and then you can basically fine-tune your LLaMA model, LLaMA 2 model with this fine-tuning data. And this all happens in this Colab notebook right here. And this goes through all steps. So you have this data generation step. This is the same example that we just had a look at. Um, this notebook is just super helpful. Install necessary libraries. Okay, then load the dataset and train the model. And this even then goes to the step where you then run inference on your just fine-tuned model.
hmm
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think this
yeah,
is
this
just super
probably
cool.
saves lots of time.
Yeah,
Yeah, big issue when you're trying to do something very specific, it's finding your data set because maybe you're doing something that nobody has done. So it
exactly.
means you have to somehow create this data set. I was actually having a conversation a couple of weeks ago with one of our teams in Gaia, and he asked me like if I thought it would be counterproductive to tell GPT-4 to create his data set based on some examples, so he could have something to like work with. And yeah, like I told him like I didn't think so. Like it's good that you're leveraging these type of things, and you have right like here you're showing me if I would have known this a couple of weeks ago, it would be exactly what I would have like. Look here,
Mhm.
here you go.
Yeah, and I mean, this looks fairly easy to do. Yeah, and just looks super fast to do. So yes, if you want some fine-tuned Llama 2 model, yeah, this is just the way to go. And I can see
Yeah.
this is using the 7 billion parameter model.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I guess you are sacrificing a little bit of I would say performance at the end because it is like you just tell it like I want something like this, and we don't know like really how good is it going to be with such a like short instructional, let's say, or I
mhm,
don't know how to
mhm.
explain, but for sure you can get something like worth
Yeah,
working with this.
I mean, you could also just edit your generated training data and have a look there
Mhm.
if this is actually good things that were generated. Yeah, but I think this is just super cool to have, and yeah, like you said, this can be really useful.
Yeah, yeah, especially for all these people that to do all these new cool like tools or companies or whatever with the AI, and they're like their use cases are very specific and they go through the path of okay, I'm just gonna use what's already there but like fine tune it for so it's really good at this, and there you go, it's made easier for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Maybe someone should build some kind of web interface to do this, or some platform. this would also be very cool. Yeah, and maybe then you have your fine-tuned model directly set up in the cloud and ready for
Yeah.
inference. API, you get an API key and then pay per usage. Yeah, but
Yeah,
maybe we will see
throwing
this in the next stream.
very good ideas on this stream. Everybody, feel free to take one and make it true.
All right. Then let's go to the next thing. So this is a blog post that was released by OpenAI, and they're
Mhm.
basically just telling us how we can use GPT-4 for content moderation, and yeah, what's the best way to do this. So yeah, if you have a platform where you need some content moderation, I think this article is really great. And they also have this example right here of how you can actually do this, and I think this is very interesting. So they have this basically they have this example where the content to moderate is this comment by some user. So he wrote how to steal a car, and they have this content policy where they have a bunch of like rules that you need to follow and what kind of content gets classified in
Mhm.
what way. And you basically can go through this example right here. So I guess this
Mhm.
would be something that you would pass on to your large language model, and then you also pass in this comment or whatever it is from the user. And in this example right here, you can see that the human review for this now rates this as K3, so advice or instruction for non-violent wrongdoing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I can understand this, and GPT-4 reviews this as K0. So basically, content is
Fine.
completely fine. And
Yes.
now what you can do is let GPT-4 explain its decision. And I guess this would be just another generation. So the text should be classified as K0 non-illicit behavior because it does not meet the criteria for any label. While stealing a car is non-violent, the request does not reference the generation of malware, drug trafficking, and vandalism. While stealing a car may be considered property theft, the policy does not include this as a type of wrongdoing. Therefore, the
Yeah, it's
content should be K0.
interesting because there's actually not any specification. Is it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
what wrongdoing is it?
exactly.
Is like according to this, he just assumed that's wrongdoing, and it didn't even assume wrongdoing. It assumed like illicit stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because I guess like how to punch somebody, it's also wrongdoing,
Mm-hmm.
and it who knows, who knows.
And now
Yeah, interesting.
the interesting thing that you can now do with these large language models is actually update your content policy based on this specific case, I guess.
Hmm.
So yeah, we can do this. Now you can see that it's basically adding this short sentence to this K3 classification. So it added including theft of property. And now if this message would come in again, I guess it would be rated as K3. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, it does has its like weak spots, but apparently it
Mm.
does something to solve it too. So I like it.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, you can adjust your content policy and keep it very variable. Um, yeah, and always update it to like the newest
Hmm.
comments. So yeah, I think this is pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
very useful also for people managing communities and tons of people. Going probably could be useful for Lab itself.
yeah,
We like do have a really big community over there.
definitely. Yeah, so super cool to see this. And yeah, I
Hmm.
guess if someone is building some kind of content moderation platform out there or has their own platform, like you said, this can be really great.
Yeah, all these content creators who like stream in
Mhm,
Twitch, for
mhm,
example, and have these like thousands and thousands of people commenting over and over again. And also like this, you can't really underestimate people's creativity. So I'm pretty sure even with think these type of things in place, someone would manage to sneak something
yeah, yeah, that's
passing
true.
through this, yeah, by passing these
Probably.
measurements.
I mean, the article goes on about like also some limitations where they basically say what you just said. So yeah,
Yeah,
there are some limitations to doing this, but yeah, if you
it's
really want
still not
some,
a substitute
yeah, yeah,
for a content moderator.
that's true.
Maybe a helper you would think of.
Yeah, probably you can automate a lot of
Yeah.
parts of this. Yeah, so then let's jump over to the next thing. So here we have this LLM leaderboard on Hugging Face, and you can
Hmm.
see that the first spot was taken by a new large language model. So the old first spot was from Llama 2,
Hmm.
7 billion parameters, but now we have Platypus,
Mm-hmm.
7 billion. And so here's their paper page. And you can see that this is basically a family of fine-tuned large language models.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they have released their training dataset. This dataset contains just pieces of other public datasets, so I guess they just chose their training data very carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to dive deep into this, I think you can find this on GitHub, or you can just go here on the LLM.
Yeah. Do you know when did it overtake first place? Because just I haven't heard of it, so it's interesting.
Um, what do you mean?
You would think that like I don't know how long ago did this came through.
Um, I think during the last couple of days, so this can't be very old.
That makes sense because every time somebody takes first place, it's the first type of things you see. New language model ranks number one,
Yeah.
and this type of thing. But yeah, I hope probably we'll start seeing a couple posts over there and hear about this.
Yeah, and by now you can see that almost every week there is like 1 point here. There's like a 1
Yeah,
point increase. So
yeah.
yeah, maybe in a couple of months this will be in the 80s or 90%. Yeah, so that's super cool to see. And yeah, we also have this chat right here where you can just
Mhm.
test the model. So I'm doing well. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Maybe I don't know, let's say, how was your day or something. And I'm also impressed by the speed of this generation.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. Very cool that this is built in.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just super cool to
Quick.
see that we have this continuous improvement. So yeah, I can even see that this is not the 7 billion parameter model, just the 13 billion.
Mhm.
So that's probably why it's so fast.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but super cool to see this. And yeah, for everyone who's interested, you could check this out on this Hugging Face large language model leaderboard. All right, and then let's jump over to our last topic. And this is similar to what we have already discussed in the last stream. So Google will basically
Mhm.
deliver a feature that summarizes articles for you with built-in generative AI. And I want to highlight this uh, animation on the left side. So, like anyone does, you open an article, and then on the bottom right here, you would have this generate button. Here the label says get AI powered key points. And now you get the key points generated for this specific article. Yeah, and I think this would be really cool because, in my opinion, the web became very,
Yeah.
firstly, like ad first. So you open a web page and then the cookie banner pops up, some ads pop up, and it just became a pain to actually read something, especially on mobile. Yeah, and
Yeah, you're right.
maybe this will improve this problem. Yeah, because you can see that you can even like explore on this page. You get key points from the page. I think this
Mhm.
also reduces hallucinations because you have this underlying article that you know is true, and now you can just create summarizations of this article.
Yeah, it's I mean, we've seen things like this before, but the fact that it's like right there, like you don't have to go anywhere, copy, paste, nothing. Just right there, accessible always for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I think having these, I mean, we basically are doing this a couple of months now already by just copy and pasting it to ChatGPT or something. But having this
Mhm.
built in directly into your phone in the browser,
Yeah.
yeah, will just enable this feature for a lot more people.
Yeah, again, like all these type of tools, but just makes you like so much more productive in general.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm hyped for this release. I think it will take some time until we see this on our phones, but it will be there. So yeah, super hyped for
Hopefully,
this.
yes.
All right.
Yes, and this and what we talked last stream, like really cool to see. Hopefully
Yes,
soon.
definitely. All right, and that's it for today. So yeah, thanks to everyone who's watching. If you're interested in these type of technologies, make sure to check out our upcoming hackathons. So for example, we have this autonomous agents hackathon starting today. So if you're not enrolled yet, you can do this on LabLab. And yeah, we also have the LLaMA 2 hackathon and the AI game
Yeah.
jam. So
We saw a couple things with LLaMA 2 today, so there
yeah,
you have
that's
some
true.
inspiration.
Yeah, and I guess that's it for today. So yeah, thank you, Manu, for being here.
Always a pleasure. Very
And yeah,
interesting things.
so also thanks to everyone who's watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.